Happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome to our show, Get to Know Your Neighbor. I'm your host, Cameron Geesaman with Geesaman Homes. I know I mention this each show, but for those that are new to our show, our goal is to introduce you to amazing neighbors of Fishers, Indiana. And as a reminder, you can catch us live each week on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7:30. As always, we appreciate it greatly when you click the like button and share with a friend, or if it's somebody that you want us to interview as well. That's a great way to kind of introduce me or tag us to be able to kind of connect with them. If you're watching this as a replay, either on Facebook or YouTube, please make sure to follow or subscribe to get notified when we post. Tonight, our guest, I'm very excited, is Johnna Myers, who is a motivational speaker. Actually, one of my dear friends suggested I interview her, and I'll be honest, I didn't know who she was. I gave her a call, and it's funny, we chatted for over an hour, and I didn't want to get off the phone, honestly. We had such a good talk, and I just wanted to kind of sit and take in all of her knowledge, soak it all in. So I can't wait for you to hear her story about dieting and how we can help our children with that. She also happens to know quite a bit about the Enneagram, and that makes me super, super happy. So please welcome Johnna Myers. Hi.
Hello. Hi. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited. I just saw Kelly. So Kelly, for viewers, is who mentioned you and said, "Oh, you've got to have Johnna on." And I was really excited. And I saw her earlier, and she was gonna try to put together a watch group, which I think she did last time, and then we couldn't see her comments. And
that's about how I am with technology and the live and all of that. It's like so many steps. I panic.
Yes, so many steps.
Yeah.
We tried to at least we use StreamYard for our system, which I think I mentioned to you, but just so that it's a little bit more production-like.
Yeah. I think it's really legit. Like I feel like you guys got this down. It is super professional because you're professional. So
thanks, I appreciate that. It really is. I'm sure that it researched and looked at stuff and is kind of in the background. So we're going to dive in. For any of you that are watching, please do make sure to comment. We can't see you unless you comment, and Johnna also can't see you, and so we like to comment and build conversation. So if you have a question or if you want to comment on something that she said, it's always kind of nice to see when you guys make those comments. So we'll dive right in. First question of the night is, what made you want to move to Fishers?
Well, we've actually been in Fishers for almost 22 years. So, which is like, I know people like you grew up here.
Yep.
You went to HSC. So you've been here a while, but we've been here almost as long as a lot of my friends I know that grew up here. So, when we talk on the phone, it's like all the changes that have taken place since we moved here. But originally we didn't move here because it was like Fishers, like we moved here because that's where the job opportunity was. So, my husband and I got married right out of college, and he was looking for a job, and Fishers is the first department that hired him, and we've been here ever since. So
that's awesome.
We've lived in the same house for 20 years.
Oh, the house that doesn't have internet. Sorry to bring that up.
The house does not have internet. Yes. We're like Laura Ingalls Wilder out here in the country.
It's funny because I have clients that call and ask for that, right? That want that peacefulness. So for everybody that wants to move to that, you can do that. You just not have internet.
Right, exactly. So you just have to choose if you want a hot spot for life, or the hot spot and country, or Wi-Fi and a neighborhood. So that's
a hard decision, to be honest.
I know. I'm telling you. What'd you say?
We work from home, so that would be really no.
Yeah, it can get tricky, especially with kids doing e-learning and all of that. It was just, and all the Zooms during quarantine, it was like crazy.
You're like, no. It's
Yeah,
good to hear that it wasn't because it was, Jess Fisher's schools that you moved here, right? Because we've heard
right.
that, right? It's growing, it's got good schools.
So
It's kind of nice to hear that's where a job was. And honestly, that's what we like. So I like that.
yeah, I mean, I was 22. We could care less about schools at that point. Like we were not even thinking about kids and what school they would go to. And when we bought our house, we bought it because it was out in the country. Like we really wanted to just. He was working in the town at the time, the town of Fishers, and we wanted to live out in the country, and so we bought it. And we didn't know anything about Fishers. We knew that it was like kind of competing with Carmel at the time, but that was pretty much it. It wasn't well known for anything at that point. And so we just moved here, and
I'd say
here we
what year did you move here?
are. 99.
Oh yeah.
98, actually. 98, we moved into an apartment. We were the first renters in our personal apartment at the Woods of Britain, and we got to pick out like the carpet and the countertops, and they like let us pick whatever kind of decor we wanted for our apartment because we were the first one.
I just want to bring something up for everybody that's watching. I graduated, this is really bad. I graduated in 98. What are you using on your skin? Because you look like you're my age. Please.
Well, thanks. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank
I know
you.
that's what the show is about, but I'm just bringing it up because I'm going to look, because see, here's the thing. I have to sit here and stare at my face and your face. And I'm going to sit here and go, what is she doing? How is this? I graduated the same year you moved here. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a little older than you, but I don't know. Maybe it's not because I've avoided the sun or used fancy stuff all of my life. I really haven't. I don't know. Genetics. But thank you.
What you're doing is working. So just let me know what that is when you figure it out.
I definitely am not great about sunscreen, so that is not the reason.
Oh, all right. Well,
yeah.
I'm just going to let everybody know this is great. You look 10 years younger. I don't know your age, but like you look young. Or
Thanks.
Really good. Okay, so we'll get off that topic. Because I want the viewers to kind of know more about you, because why you moved to Fishers, that doesn't really tell us a whole lot about you. And I want people to know why I stayed on the phone with you for over an hour. And honestly, it could have been 2 hours. I kind of was like, I probably should phone because we are going to talk for another hour.
Yeah, I agree.
So tell us about your journey to becoming a motivational speaker and like what that looks like kind of throughout the years.
Yeah, it is not something that I ever like set out to do. I didn't grow up thinking I wanted to, be a speaker, but it's funny because I'm the youngest of 8 kids. And so I joke about the fact that I grew up like fighting for attention, like trying to get anybody to listen to me. And so I think it's funny now that people will pay me to talk into a microphone. I feel like it's just like what goes around. So that's just kind of ironic. But I would just say, I mean, I'm a teacher at heart, like, and I love to learn. I love to take in information, and then I love to share that information that I have just accumulated. And so anything that I've learned, I want other people to learn it too. And so I think it just kind of started like in high school, I was helping lead youth group, and then it moved into college ministry. And then just kind of through the years, it just kind of grew as I would do more talks or teach more studies or things like that. And so it just kind of was this natural development. And so here I am.
That's awesome. Okay, so
Yeah.
you speak on multiple things, and I know this wasn't a question that I prefaced, but what can you kind of tell our viewers what kind of motivational speaking you do, or what the focus is, or what kind of different things that you've done in your past from that aspect, so that people can kind of know kind of the direction that you go?
Yeah. So I would say the majority of the speaking that I do is faith-based. So I do a lot of women's conferences and retreats and high school, ministries and things like that. So a lot of it is faith-based. But then I also have kind of do a lot with anti-diet culture. So just helping women learn what it's like to be free from the idea of diet culture. And so between those two, those are really it. I do some stuff with police wives, and I just kind of facilitate some stuff there. And so I would say those three areas are really it, like faith-based stuff, diet culture stuff, and then police wife stuff. So
Okay, so let's delve into some of that, because I am very intrigued from the, from the diet side, right? I'm sure we could talk about all three of them in excess, but I was very on to that, because even on your website, it does talk about, helping kids understand that. And I think that's something that right now a lot of people need, because we are sitting around. I can admit that, well, when you sit around and you're bored, you eat.
a lot of people do. Yeah.
Or at least I
Yep.
do.
Yeah.
So,
A lot of people do. I mean,
yeah,
that's a real thing.
tell us a little bit about that, of what that looks like, or how you've kind of melded that into, maybe what is your story on that that led you to that. Because I don't feel like that's an easy transition, or something that, like, you just all of a sudden go, I'm going to do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And the things that I talk about to groups, and it could be 4 people, it could be one-on-one, or it could be 500. Like, so it just kind of depends on, but the things I talk about really come out of my own life experience. And so diet culture, that is definitely one of them. And so just kind of the short of that story is I grew up with that mentality of just, you diet, that's what you do. That's what I had seen done all around me, and my family and my friends and their parents and things like that. And so I just grew up with that mentality that that's when you get to be an adult, you get to go on a diet, And so I actually started a little early as a teenager. And so I just kind of jumped on this diet journey and did a lot of just kind of cyclical yo-yo dieting up and down, and eventually turned into an eating disorder. And that, I didn't look like I had an eating disorder, so people thought I was just like super healthy, and I was praised for that. I was congratulated for being able to, quote, stay thin and stay fit, and people wanted my advice, and so that feels really good. I mean, think about it. If you lose weight and you get complimented on it, you're like, oh, I'm doing something right. I'm really good. And so that is how I live my life. And anyway, so fast forward, it was just, it stole life from me. It really just stole life from me, because I was constantly thinking about food. I was constantly thinking about what I hadn't eaten, what I would eat, constantly thinking about exercise and burning calories, and if I burned enough that day, and if not, then I would restrict the next day. And it was just this really bad, vicious cycle. And so that was just my life for so many years, because I didn't know there was anything different. And so I just kind of,
like, nobody's really talking about it. So it's like, that's what I loved when I talked with you.
yeah,
It's not talked about. You just diet. I feel like everybody.
Yeah, right. It's talked about in a way of like, well, this is what you do. This is what expected. You are expected to always be pursuing weight loss. No matter what age, no matter what stage of life, you are expected to pursue weight loss. And so that's the hamster wheel that so many people, most everybody jumps on. And so you just live this life always wanting to lose weight, no matter what size you are or what stage of life you are. And so that's where I was. And I was just miserable. I was miserable. I thought there's got to be something better than this. And so fast forward 20 years of dieting, and there was just a moment at church that just between what the pastor was saying and the scripture we were learning, and God just redeemed me from that pit. And so from that moment, I mean, it's been a journey. I'm not saying that like overnight it was done and over and I've never had a negative thought. Like that's definitely not, that's definitely not true. There's temptation all the time. But that being said, I have now found the freedom to not diet. And not only that, to be able to help other people walk into that freedom too. And that it just, I love it. I love when it's like the blinders come off and people are exposed to the lies that they believed for so long that they didn't even know they were believing, because it's just this pattern of life that they've gotten stuck in because that's what they think is expected. And so to watch people like go, wait a second, like it doesn't actually matter, like I don't actually have to starve myself. And I'm like, no, you don't. And so it's just really great and fun to be able to help people begin their journey to understand that.
That's your conviction. I can feel it.
Oh gosh, I love it. I do. I really, because I've experienced it, because I know the freedom that I have to live now and like to enjoy life and to not be thinking about food all the time and what I'm gonna, I don't have to starve myself Monday through Friday so I can cheat on the weekend, And so
yes.
I want other people to like live. It's really, it feels life. And so to help people just walk in freedom and live and enjoy life, like life's just too short to diet.
No, I've actually been working on it myself to a certain extent. We had our conversation and it's one of those where, I have a lot of health issues that cause me to not be able to eat certain food. And so that's where the struggle becomes. But then you almost bully yourself. So I completely relate to you in saying, like, I was saying those negative things to myself because I'm still saying those negative things to myself, even though they're somewhat out of my control to a certain extent. I then still put it back on. And there's probably tons of women and even men. And, I have a question about children, but like that is something that we deal with. And so to have a resource or someone that can, talk about that, I think that that's huge. So what would you say, Jason Bourne, that cracks me up. Jason says, hi.
Hi, Jason. Oh, it's Kelly. Hi, Kelly.
She did it the right way tonight. She didn't do the group because she did it. We couldn't see any of their comments. So
I see. That's funny.
But so what do you say? Because you have two girls. Even Kelly might have even asked you this question. I don't have girls, and so, but I think that I probably still deal with this with even boys. But for our viewers, like what would you give as advice for a parent dealing with a kid? Like, what are your kind of tips, or when you're doing, a speaking event or whatever? And I don't know if you've even spoken on this, but like, what are your tips or tricks with kids? Like, to make sure they don't grow up thinking they have to be on the diet.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I do speak a lot about that because I speak to a lot of moms groups. And so they want to know, like, how can I feed my kid? I will say just from the offset though, that this is not just an all female issue. This is definitely a boy and a male issue as well. I mean, boys get eating disorders, not as frequently, but they also do get eating disorders. And the boys, so a boy's view of women is also directly related to their mom's view of themselves. And so, just like I have a huge.
Oh boy.
Did I say that? Wait.
I'm just going to say this on Facebook Live. I want to say on television. My children will be going to a therapist for the rest of their lives.
Oh, yeah. me and my children and my husband too. Like, I'm all for that. Yeah, for sure.
I'm totally.
But
It's okay. It's okay.
it is. It's good. Everybody could use therapy. I get it. So just like I am the primary influence on how my girls view themselves and view bodies in general. The mom to a boy is also just a huge influence, because then that is how they're going to view their future wives and girlfriends and things like that, based on these beliefs and this belief system that they have just really kind of taken on by osmosis in the household, boys or girls, children in general. So all that being said, I think I wasn't trying to shame you, sorry.
Shame me. It's okay.
Okay.
We have truths that are said in our house and on ourselves. I get it. I'll work on it.
Yeah. So I think that's the number one thing I would say is, for each person, I'm just going to say, as moms, I'm going to say for the moms to get healthy in this area. And I don't mean healthy physically. I mean healthy mentally in this area, and to get free in this area will make a huge impact on the kid. And so, like, for instance, we don't talk about good food and bad food. So like, my children we don't label foods. Foods are neutral. So foods are just food. You know, there's obviously some that have more nutritious element to it, but then then there's some that, aren't going to make you feel great, but it's just food. And so, like, we take those labels off of food. We don't talk about weight. We just, it's it's just a conversation in the home.
Still failing.
You're not failing. I'm telling you,
there's
people don't know.
Here's the thing. There is a label on every single food item.
I know. And it's so frustrating.
It's because you know this way better than I do. Because we do, partially because I have a philosophy that you shouldn't really just eat all sugar items. Like, partially because growing up, I ate all sugar items. I literally have an issue now in my gut because I have so many problems, partially because of what I ate, because I literally ate junk all the time. I just destroyed everything. And I'm sure there's way more that goes into it than me just eating sugar items. But we try to help our kids go, okay, yes, you can have that. I'm not saying you can't have that, but you need to have these things with it. Like, because that's sugar. So I'm not supposed to be doing that?
I am not telling you how to parent. That is not at all what I'm here for.
You can tell me how to parent.
No. I'm saying that sometimes there's some, like, here's the problem. We give power to food. So
I do it.
A lot of times we give that power to food, and we give morality to food. And so if certain foods hold a higher value in our minds and some hold a lower value, and we tell our kids that, then it creates this cycle of shame or guilt when they eat that said bad food, or they feel good and superior when they eat the good food, or they feel like there's power in the certain foods, or there's not, and so they feel less about themselves and gross if they eat the bad food. And so it just creates this cycle of shame if we're giving morality to food, saying, well, I was good today because I only ate blah, 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 or I was bad, I ate cake, If
you're not giving it, okay, so I'm learning. We're going to learn here. So because I have faults, I get it. And this is new to me, so I'm learning.
Yes. Totally.
So if we're not putting a label on it, then how do you keep your children from not just eating all the shit in the cabinet?
That is a great question. So here's the thing. This is the awesome thing. When you think about when your boys were young, when they were babies, did you have to tell them how much to eat? When they were nursing or they were on a bottle, did you have to tell them how much? Did you have to tell them when to stop or when to be hungry or anything?
They're full. Yeah, no. Except our kids
They just knew.
Our kids are boredom eaters. Like they'll be
Okay, but when we're babies, they weren't.
No. When they were babies.
So, I mean, we were all born with this intuitive instinct. I mean, we were designed with this ability to trust our body and to know when we're hungry, to know our hunger cues, to know when we're full and satisfied, and to stop. And we also know, as intuitively, we should know what we like to eat, what fuels us, what makes us feel good. But the problem is, as we grow up, we get all these rules pressed in on us, and we don't trust our bodies anymore. We trust a system of beliefs, or we trust a regimen or list that we're supposed to stick to and foods we're supposed to avoid. So once we have listened to those, we don't trust our body or listen to our body anymore. And so we go according to external sources telling us what to do instead of listening internally what we're supposed to do. And so when you talk about like, well, if I just listen to my body, I'd eat Oreos all day long. Well, you might for a couple days once you start eating, giving permission, but after a few days, you won't want to eat Oreos anymore. Like your body just knows to survive on Oreos. It just naturally knows that, but we don't trust our body to tell us that. So we have to resist and say, I shouldn't eat that because I'll eat the whole bag. Well, when you're restricting from eating Oreos and then someone puts the bag in front of you, you're like, give me all the Oreos, right? But if...
Oh, we might have lost you. I lost you.
So it's just this idea of intuitive eating and...
Johnna.
Oh, are you there?
I'm losing you. I'm going to kick you off real quick. I'm going to update everybody and join back in, okay? It's just you've dropped out.
Am I off? Okay. Okay.
For anybody that's joining, this is a great conversation. I'm learning a lot. Clearly, I need to be parenting different. So if you want to join in on the conversation, make sure to make a comment. But we are talking to Johnna Myers. She's a wealth of information. I honestly couldn't get off the phone with her the last time we were talking. So hopefully you'll enjoy our chat. Right now, we're just talking about kind of, diet shaming, because everybody feels like they need to be on a diet, especially as we get older. And so we kind of kicked her off for a second, but now she's coming back.
Thank you.
You're there? Yeah. You were just out, and I wanted people to hear you.
Yeah, no, I understand. It was a hotspot issue. Sorry. If the phone gets too far away, it goes. I'm serious. This is real life.
And yeah, you live in Fishers.
Right. And after this, I'm going to get in my car and pedal my way to the store. Flintstone style.
Sorry, that's hilarious. They are getting, which you're fairly close, they're getting a cold or oh my gosh, I just dropped blank. Handles. Thank you. Producer helps. Handles at Hamilton Town Center.
No. Oh, that's exciting. That's good news.
We're talking about food and how I shouldn't label it.
Yeah.
That is a not good food, but so good food.
It's not a bad food. It's not a not good food either. It's actually just food. It's just ice cream. There's nothing to fear in it.
I'm really going to have to work on that.
I'm telling you, it is a journey, but man, once you can flip that switch and learn what it looks like to intuitively trust your body to eat the way that it was designed to, man, it changes everything. You don't think about those foods all the time anymore. Like you do when you're dieting and you think about all those foods you can't have. No, I don't. Like if I want ice cream, I'll eat it. If I don't, I don't.
Okay, so that takes us to our next question, which is what do you find challenges you the most? Because right now, apparently food is challenging me the most. That's not gonna be an answer. So what challenged you the most, Johnna?
What challenged me the most? It's funny. I asked my daughter this, and she looked at me. She goes, "Parenting." I was like, "That's probably legit." And I have like our kids are amazing children, and I struggle with parenting.
You know,
it's hard.
Kids. That's why I asked you that question about children, because I feel like we don't really talk about weight. We are lucky in that Adam and I are fairly thin people, so that helps. But we work out, we eat healthy. But I feel like I shouldn't be saying that we eat healthy, because that's not the right words. We eat? Is that what you're saying I should say? We eat.
You eat to nourish your bodies and to taste food. Like, we're supposed to enjoy it, and so to taste it and to be satisfied by it. Like, that's a gift to be able to taste and enjoy food. So
I love food. The problem is that so does my gut, with all of its issues. And I won't tell all of America, not that all of America is going to see this, but Kelly thinks we're going global.
Yes, she called that into existence.
She did. We're not there.
Yes.
Yet. We're not there yet. But so now I'm getting personal. Sorry for all the viewers. We're just having a conversation. Just Johnna and I. He's going to cure me.
Yeah.
So what do you do or how do you get through those? Because my struggle, which I'm sure other people struggle with, I have a lot of medical side of things that affect it. And so how do you suggest getting past that when it's not just, because I 100% agree with you. I hate the word diet. Like when people say I'm paleo, I say that only because when people are like, well, how do you eat? Or like, why don't you eat gluten? You know what I mean? I'm like, well, we're paleo, because it's easy to say and people know what it is. But we're not paleo. There's so much more. It's just easy to say. So I don't like the word diet, because everybody's body is different. And what I do versus what Adam does, versus what our kids do, it's different. And so I guess the question is that, for those people where it's not specifically diet based, but yet that's really the only word you can give it, right? Like,
because of the medical issues, you mean? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get, like, there are people that have to eat a certain way in order for their body to function at its best. Like, that's a legitimate thing. I will say that I think in today's society, a lot of people are using, and I'm not saying you are, but a lot of people are using medical issues as a reason to remove certain things and eliminate things from their eating patterns. And so, but the problem is, like, people use food as medicine versus just eating the food to nourish your body. And so something that I always like to talk to people about is, like, what is your motive? What's your motive for removing this food group, that food group? Like, what's your motive? Well, a lot of people, because I know this is where I would say it's for medical reasons. Like, I don't know, I think I want to heal my gut. I don't know, I feel a little gassy and bloated. But for me, literally, it was weight loss, because I would see other people who would remove gluten from their diet, and I'm like, well, they're really thin. I bet if I remove gluten, then I'll lose weight too. And so people use
how it works.
People use certain eating regimens. Really, they mask it in, I want to be healthy, but they don't really always know the science behind it to know that it's just another diet, and that there's certain foods that just don't need to be feared. Like, unless you have celiac, or something that you've been medically diagnosed. Like, for example, the keto diet was actually created for epileptics. So unless you have epilepsy, there's no reason that your body should do keto.
Correct.
And so there's just science that backs that up. You agree with me on that? So,
well, and I get it all the time, because people ask me, like, well, why are you gluten-free? Well, when I did an IEG and an IgG, it came back that I was having an autoimmune response as high as someone who has celiac. And then I also have one of the two genes. So trust me, everybody, If I
Yeah.
could eat a whole sleeve of donuts right now and not be in excruciating pain, I'd do it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I'm not saying that's you, but I'm saying in our culture, a lot of people can use that as kind of a mask. And I want to say too, just for anyone watching this, like I don't have letters behind my name. I am not like a professor. I'm not a dietitian, these kinds of things. And sometimes people are like, then how do you make these claims? How do you say this? And one is life experience. And two is I have aligned myself with a community of people that are anti-diet culture, and I have learned from them so much. And I read and research and listen to the podcast. So everything I'm saying is not from my own knowledge at all. It's information I've accumulated through time of just learning from people that are actually
Right.
the dietitians and the scientists behind it.
I know you said that to me when we talked on the phone. Here's the thing. I don't think in this type of situation, I mean, yes, you can have that behind your name, but I don't believe you have to have that, because at the end of the day, what we're talking about isn't always just about science, right? Like, you're going to go to your doctor and have a conversation with your doctor, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you would probably suggest that. I feel like you would suggest that across the board.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, for sure.
I appreciate you being upfront and honest and saying, I don't have those. These are from experience. I can show you a way or a path, but at the same time, you have to determine if it's right for you. Because I think, like anything, I do
Yes.
struggle because people are like, well, but you're thin, and so it's got to be because of what you eat. It's not. Guys, we all have genes.
Genetics.
My
I mean, the majority of our body size is based on genetics, just like your foot size, your height. I mean, and so we can diet to try to fit into a certain mold, but at the end of the day, when you stop dieting, you're going to actually gain more weight because of the dieting and the science behind that. And your body's going to get to this place where your genetics just starts playing its role. And so.
Right. I agree with that. And even to a certain extent, I think, I have friends that visually, if they are standing next to me, I'm also 5'11", so like I stretch it out. There's a lot of room on me to put stuff. And if I stand next to them, they look overweight. But yet I'm much bigger than they are, even just on a waist. Like, if we're talking like 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 14, like on a size, I'm bigger than they are. And they're honestly healthier. And so it's like, you've got to stop looking at what your body looks like versus what my body looks like, because they're not the same.
Right.
My hips,
right.
Your hips are bigger. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do those things. And that's what I love about when I talked with you, trying to help guide parents through that and just people through that, to help them understand and see that. I have a lot of work to do. Clearly, on not naming my foods, this is going to be a hard one. Johnna, I might be calling you crying because I'm calling everything.
Please do.
Which does.
Food is food.
I know. Food is food. I'm going to plaster that everywhere. Food is food. So that kind of does bring me to that next question, which is, if one of our viewers is looking for like support or guidance with their weight journey, if that's what you want to call it, what are some resources you would recommend or point them to?
Yeah. The first thing, I actually got it out, is this book. Wait, there we go. It's called Intuitive Eating. And
I was going to take a picture of it, but I do have this on tape.
Yeah, you can go back to it. I would say that is a great place to start. And it really just talks about how your body is designed to eat a certain way. And so it kind of dispels a lot of the myths and the lies that diet culture has put into place. And so I think that is a great place to start. There's a lot of people on social media. There's a lot of people on social media. I don't know if you knew that, but there's a lot of people not to follow on social media. And then there's actually some people to follow in this arena. But like, I was so on social media looking for people that are they're intuitive eating registered dietitians. So they're specific to this way of eating versus putting you on a diet. There's also a thing called a health at every size. And those are health at every size registered dietitians. You want to look for something that's like anti-diet culture. So if you're just scrolling through hashtags, you want to look up anti-diet culture.
What's the hashtag, Johnna? Tell me that.
Hashtag intuitive eating, hashtag health at every size, hashtag anti-diet culture. Yeah. And following some of those accounts and things like that is just really good. But start with the book. That is
okay.
Or go to the website of the author.
I will be ordering that. Do they talk about not labeling food?
Yes.
Okay. So Kelly has known me long enough that she's going, Cameron needs this. That was Kelly's intent, not to have you on the show, but to like, Cameron, have her on our show, and this is how she's going to get to you.
This is an intervention.
Yes, because I have to admit, when we do go to people's houses, we bring all the food with us.
And that's a pain. I mean, I get it. If you have to medically, I get it. But
Yeah.
I'm saying for like people like where I was, I mean, that is just exhausting. And you're so consumed. This is the thing. When you get so consumed with the food that's going in your mouth or not going in your mouth, or your size and comparing, you can't connect with other people. You can't be there socially to have that conversation with your friends, or you're not there with your kids at the dinner table because all you're doing is counting calories and points and macros. And it's like, there's no life in that. And so really, once you kind of strip that stuff away, you can start connecting better with other people. So
it's funny. I haven't gotten to the macros and counting calories. I've never been a calorie person because I truly believe that, and I have friends, I get it, like that are like, okay, I can eat all crap, but as long as I burn this amount of calories, I'm good. And that works for some people. And if that's the route that you want to go down, then she's recommending to read intuitive. Because so I've never gone down that path, which is fine. Like, again, I'm never going to, because I've been the person who I have had friends that were very truthful with me and said, Cameron, it's hard to eat around you or be around because we think you're judging me. And I'm like, but I'm not. And so I don't care. I really don't care what you do. I have to do what I have to do. Right. But part of mine, again, is health related, but I think I need to work on that because maybe it's not health related. I
will say one last thing about that our bodies, actually, we can do more damage to them due to the stress over eating a certain way than the actual food does to our body. So the stress actually can create more inflammation than the actual food. So if we're all worked up about it all the time, yes, I'm so jealous. I want that Chick-fil-A right there.
I stopped eating forever because I was really distraught. I am working on the stress aspect. So
that's all I'll say about that. I'm done.
I know. Okay. So before we have to end this conversation, because I don't see this is where it could turn into a 15-hour event.
It really could be.
I do want to get into Enneagram just a little bit because I love Enneagram. And
go for it. Open that box.
I know. Okay. So for those, let's start off simple. I am a 7. You are a
1.
You're a 1?
Why are you so surprised?
I don't know. I wasn't expecting that.
Oh, I'm totally a 1. I don't want anybody to see me as a bad person. I'm a rule follower. I love structure, organization. Yes.
Okay, so those of you who are joining, if you're not familiar with Enneagram, it is a like a personality test. Johnna can probably make this sound way better than I do, but it's a personality test and it's 1 through 9 and you have different numbers. I'm a 1. Adam is a 9. What is your husband?
Okay. That's undetermined.
We're not supposed to typecast.
Yes, if I were to make a guess, I don't know, but I would say maybe a 3,
Oh,
maybe a 9, maybe a 2.
if,
You're supposed to go on like core fear, core motivation.
okay.
That's what you're supposed to base, base that on, is what the core fear is and what the core motivation is. So
You think he's a 3 or a 9? He's got to be an extroverted 9 because I don't know too many 9s that are introverts that could be a 3.
yeah. He's
Right?
an extrovert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adam is a 9 introvert.
I see. I don't really even know what that, I guess, that means. Because 9's peacemaker, right?
Very much a peacemaker.
Yeah.
And I
conflict.
don't like anybody to not like me. So we work really well because we just don't irritate each other.
Just avoid conflict at all costs.
Funny, even though I'm a 7, I don't mind conflict. I feel like conflict makes you grow. You could tell me all the things that let's go deep. That's why I don't mind having this conversation with you of like, okay, there's some things I need to work on because I think at the end of the day, I need to humble myself and there's so much to learn and to take in, and I sure as heck don't know it all, you know?
Yeah. And see where I will, after we get off of this, my inner critic will replay this entire thing and I will be like, oh, why did I say that? Like, you're such an idiot. I don't call myself an idiot, but I will replay and rehash everything I said and be like, I probably could have said that differently. Was that clear? Did I talk too much? Yeah.
We're not talking too much.
Okay, good. Thank you. No.
Adam's always when I interrupt people, he's like, he always gives me this look like, stop. I want to say something. It's in my head and I want to get it out.
Right. We have a lot to say.
Oh my God. Yeah. He's never taken the test?
No. Well,
does he not want?
No. It's just not that important. He's not really into it.
Oh, he's a 3.
Well, I think the reason that I think a 3 is because the core fear is looking like a failure and the core motivation is, or no.
Yeah.
Shame. There's shame in there somewhere. I don't know. I don't remember. But if he is a 3, which I'm totally guessing, he's not your typical 3. Because when I think of a lot of 3s, I think of like go-getter business kind of people.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's why I wouldn't think of him as a 3 unless you look at the core fear and core motivation.
Yeah. No, I get that. Well, and being, in his profession, like, I mean, you kind of have to have a little bit of that. I feel like
go-getter. Yeah, he definitely is that. So
from a business perspective, but you have to be willing to run in and do something.
Into danger? Yes.
Yeah.
And he's awesome at that. He's really good at that.
You and I would not be police officers.
No. I think at some point I'm like, I think I could do that. I thought I could go into the military. I'm like, I should have done the military. My husband looked at me, he's like, no, you would not have survived 30 seconds.
I'm very clear with everybody. Kind of like being a nurse. I could never have been a nurse either. Like, it's not a 7. Let's go travel the world. Let's go have some fun.
Yeah, let's just have fun. Work? Nah.
Actually, my 7s are motivational speakers. So that's honestly why I thought maybe you were going to be a 7 because we clicked so much.
Oh.
7.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, aren't like 1, 4, and 7 are all in the like
triad, right?
So maybe that's why we connected so well too.
And I always love 1s. You keep me organized.
Well, you're welcome.
I really appreciate that. Make a list of all the things we've talked about tonight. Send it so that I can make sure that I can work all of them because I won't.
I've got my notes.
I
didn't want to miss something.
Did we get everything on it? Did we miss anything? We haven't talked about how to support you. We'll get to that.
We've pretty much hit it all. It's fine. It's pretty much.
You want to get on because I love that you I'm going to ask you where we can support you, but I do want people to know that you do help a lot. I mean, even Kelly, you want to post Kelly's comment of you're great to call when you're crying one, but I feel it's important not to point out bad foods. And if I don't feel comfortable in a bathing suit, that's really good, Kelly.
Yay, Kelly! I'm
She's
so proud of you.
So much better than I am.
That is hard, but that is a great thing. Aww.
That's what she said.
That's so sweet.
Now I'm gonna start
Thank you.
crying. But I want people to understand, because you are part of the the cops' wives, right, for fishers. That, like, can you talk about that so that people really, because I think that's a big part of at least talking with Kelly of who you are and how you're able to support that and what that looks like for maybe somebody. I don't know if there's anybody out there that is a cops wife that knows what that is, like, or is a part of it.
Yeah, I that is another area of life I'm just really passionate about, just because, again, we've been in this profession, and my husband's been in this profession for so long that we're kind of one of the old folks at the Fishers Police Department, but that's fine. So there's two groups that I kind of oversee-ish. One group is just Fishers Police Wives, and that's just like, we have an incredible group of women that are supporting the home front behind these men that go out and protect our community. Like, just an incredible group of women all over the board, of all different kinds of personalities and ability to talk and engage in conversation. It's just great. So that Facebook group is specifically for police wives, and it's just a place of support and encouragement for one another, and also, like, informational. We share information, or someone's looking for a doctor or a babysitter or something like that. So it's a place for us just to have community, and we have in the past, and here and there we'll get together as a group, and that's a lot of fun. But it's growing so much. Like, so for instance, we would have get-togethers, and there'd be, like 8 to 10 people, and then I started this, like, Christmas ornament exchange. And the first year there was like 12 or 15 people or whatever. Well, last year when I sent out the invites, it was like 85 people. And I was like, I hope all these people can come, because I can fit about 10 in my living room. So I was like, what am I going to do if all these people RSVP? Yes. And we ended up with 30, I think. So we had to go to someone else's house, but it was still great. But I'm like, wow, it's growing so much. So there's that group. And then there's another group. It's called Beside My Blue. And so if anybody's watching this that is a police wife, or a police spouse, I should say, or you know of anyone, go to Beside My Blue on Facebook and ask to join the group, because it is more, it's not just fishers. It's all over. Actually, we have people all over the country that have joined it. And it's more of a support place for wives to learn how to connect to their husbands. So it's not to connect to one another, but it's to learn it's just a unique place to be a law enforcement spouse. And so to learn what that looks like with all the dynamics of working, split shifts and the stress of the job and all that goes into that, it's learning how to deal with what goes on so that then you can better support and connect with your husband. Because when you think, if your husband is coming home to a place where he feels loved and respected, he'll be able to turn around and go back out into the community, and he's going to do his job better, which means he's going to be safer. The other officers will be safer, and the whole community will benefit from living in a safe place. So that's what that group is. And so I'm doing a series of Facebook Lives right now with my therapist. So it's like amazing. Yeah, it's really great. So he has donated that time.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I love that you do that. And I think that just speaks volumes, because you are right. I think that the families that are the families of police, they need support just as much. And Kelly and I talked about that tonight, to a certain extent. So I really appreciate that. So we're near the end here, but wanted to I know it could go on forever. The producer's looking at me like,
He's like, wrap it up.
I know, it's so bad. I know, like, come on. So for anybody that's out there that's watching, if they want to connect with you directly, where can we send them, or what's the best way that we can support you?
Yeah. Well, the best way to support me is hire me to speak at your next event. I mean, duh.
Hire her. I want to
hire me. That's what
I own a company. It's me, my dad, and my husband. You come and just talk to us like as a
100%. I'm there. Just name the time. It doesn't have to be like a crowd. It can just be one person. I don't care.
well, I might be
It can be coffee at Starbucks, but
right.
that yeah. So if someone is in charge of hiring for events or know somebody that is, I mean, it could be anything. So yeah, there's that. But if they want to connect, I've got a website, Instagram, Facebook.
Yep. There's her website.
Oh, look at that. Fancy.
We're so fancy.
Wow, you guys really are professional. I wouldn't know how to do that, but you did it.
I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I know nothing. This is all the producer on the back end.
Good job, producer.
So you can go to her website. You can also learn about her story, kind of what we talked about tonight. And then there's some questions and some of her speaking and resources. I think that book was actually on your resources page, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's that. And
I'm actually redoing my website right now. So it's under construction, but it will actually be an official like speaker website where it lists like what I do and what my messages are and things like that.
Oh, good. I'm excited. I will try to actually squeeze you in at our church and be like, hey, you need to hire her. And then I'm going to plug, she also has her Instagram, which I follow. So I get really excited about that. So you can go there and follow her there as well. And then as we come to an end, we ask all of our guests the final question, since we are trying to get to know our neighbors, who you think we should interview, or who would you watch if we interviewed them?
Yes. Well, good thing I thought about this, and we've had this conversation. My friend Janelle Dewolfe. So she is a local business owner. She owns Studio 116 Photography, does senior pictures, does personal branding. And then she also has a company, it's called the Dewolfe Company, Dewolfe Co. And she's also an Enneagram coach. She's like licensed in Enneagram. So anything I know has probably come from her. But she's just a really good friend. She's super conversationalist, and she's also an amazing businesswoman. She's learned a lot. She started a group in town called We Rise Social, and that is kind of a networking group for women business owners and fishers. And so, she's just great. So I think that you would not have any problem carrying on a conversation with her.
That one I'm really excited about. Is that all we've got?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, do we want? Can I do more than one? I'm like, you can do 100. I mean, I might not get to them this year, but
yeah, yeah. That was like, I just had one in the lineup, but if I think of more, I'll just text you.
That's a really good one, though. That I really. Wow. If Janelle is watching, then
go big or go home.
Yes. Yeah, like, let's do this. I could talk Enneagram. Here's the thing. I'm not going to second person to recommend her. Yes. I will not. I might actually not talk, because I might just want you to she might just vomit words on me, and I'll just sit and listen, because it's just a fun topic for me. I know it probably won't bring a big crowd, but
I think a lot of people are interested in it.
More and more people are. I think some people do get turned off when you do go down the faith aspect of it or the spiritual side of it. But it doesn't have to be that at all if you don't want it to be. You know what I mean? It can be just a personality.
It's cool. It doesn't define you. It's just a tool to help you kind of know yourself better. So
I feel like that's the book that
I would never use that as a crutch to be like, well, I'm a perfectionist and it has to be perfect.
Right.
But because I know that about my personality, I'm like, hey, watch out.
Adam just turned down the light. Now I can't see myself. Well, Donna, I really, now he's gonna fix it again. See? Um, damn producer. I really so appreciate. I think that that's some great tools. I love that if there's anybody that's watching now or even was watching before or later, I think those are some great tools. Definitely go to her site if you want to kind of chat with her or have her be a motivational speaker at one of your events. Super excited about that. I hopefully will get you some new gigs, and hopefully I know that we're not this huge production, but fully enjoyed it. So thank you everybody for
Yeah, that was fun.
Yes, I could go for hours. Want to say thank you to everybody that has watched. That's kind of, I think we ebbed and flowed, so we had some good viewers. Kelly, of course, was tuning in, so that's always fun. But
thank you, Kelly.
I know, she's the best. I told her, I go, if she just recommends all of her friends, I'll have a show. Well, I'll go global if she keeps.
It will be, yeah, it will be global if Kelly's in charge of it.
I know, right? People. Next, so I don't know if do you know Lisa Graft?
Yes, I do.
She is coming on.
I sure do. Is she next week?
Yes.
Oh, fun. Awesome.
So
okay. Yes, I know Lisa really well.
Yeah. So we have her set up for Tuesday. She's been launching and just doing a bunch of stuff. I don't know her directly. I've met her multiple times, but it's usually at an event with either Pub Theology or Ryan Allwort is our connection. And so I'm excited about interviewing her. She has a show called I Am Mother of the Year, which it sounds kind of not what you think it is, because it's a lot of women claiming that they are not doing a great job. And it is just for us to all say, see, we're all normal. We're all people.
Yep.
Food is just food.
Yeah, it's neutral. No power in it.
No power. So I'm excited about that. If anybody wants to catch us next Tuesday at 7:30, still waiting for the Thursday person to finally finalize. So I'll get with you guys on that. But you can check us out on our Facebook page, what you're seeing here, which is Geesaman Homes. And then we do have an Instagram, which is Cameron the Realtor and Cameron and Adam and all that hoopla. So anyways, they say I'm supposed to do that. Geesaman Homes. See, I appreciate everybody that's watched. Thank you so much. Johnna, thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It was great. It was so fun.
I know.
Thanks for listening to my soapbox.
No, I love your soapbox. I love your soapbox. Thank you for going through what you went through all of those years. I mean, 20 years of dieting, like that's hard. I love that you then turned it into a positive, form, right? And are then trying to help others, because so many people can go through that and then nobody learns from it. And that's huge. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you everybody for joining.
Thank you.
And you guys all have a wonderful Thursday.
All right. Bye.